visible in North America from October to April. The Pleiades star cluster features in the mythology of several cultures around the world and is known as the Seven Sisters in more than one. For example, a legend of the Kiowa claims there were 7 sisters being pursued by a hungry bear. The Great Spirit took pity on them and lifted them into the sky as stars, where they'd be safe. In Japan, the Pleiades is known as Subaru, not to be confused with the car company of the same name. The legend existed long before the cars. Subaru translates as unite or gather together. In this version of the legend, the Subaru were a group of beautiful celestial maidens who made the mistake of descending to Earth, and no big surprise, were immediately pursued by a randy human male. They barely eluded their would-be swain and escaped back to the heavens. But also, according to the legend, had to transform into stars and leave their clothes behind to manage it. The Greek legend is probably the best known to those of European descent. Here, the Pleiades were the 7 daughters of the Titan Atlas and the Oceanid Pleione, from whose name the term Pleiades is thought to derive. Their daughters' names are Maia, Electra, Tegidi, Sileno, Alcyone, Sterophe, and Merophe. Unfortunately, we can't tell these divine nymphs' story without also mentioning a rather crude fellow called Orion the Hunter. He was either the son of the sea god Poseidon and Euryale, daughter of King Minos of Crete, or he has an origin much too disgusting to mention, so we'll stick with the Poseidon and Euryale version. Orion was mortal, but he had one trick he learned from his father. He could walk on water and never needed a boat. To give you an idea what he was like, he walked to the island of Chios, where he eliminated the entire island's wild animal population, then got drunk and tried to have his way with the king's daughter. The king had him blinded and kicked off the island. He wandered sightless for a while, but finally was able to meet the sun god Helios, whose morning rays cured Orion's blindness. Once he could see again, Orion cast his gaze on the Pleiades and liked what he saw. Remember the incident at Chios? Apparently, neither did Orion, because he was soon after the 7 sisters just as determined as he was when he chased the king's daughter, and he wasn't called Orion the Hunter for nothing. The girls were in trouble. One might expect the Pleiades' father Atlas to intervene as the king of Chios had. He wanted to, but there was a complication. Atlas had chosen the wrong side in Zeus' war with the Titans, and as punishment Zeus commanded him to hold up the heavenly firmament.
What did you expect? It's not as if I could drop this thing. I'll have to take it up with Zeus.
So, as a concession to Atlas' fatherly concerns, Zeus placed the 7 sisters among the stars where Orion couldn't get at them, and so created the Pleiades as we know them today. At least that's the story. Or rather, part of it. Despite appearances, we're not quite done. After losing his chance with the 7 sisters, Orion made his way to Crete. There he met up with the goddess of the hunt, Artemis. By reputation, Artemis and her nymph entourage were not very fond of men. However, apparently Artemis and Orion bonded over their mutual love of the hunt. Soon Orion was Artemis' hunting companion and lover. There are at least 2 different versions of what happened next. In one version, Orion's love of the hunt got a little too extreme, and he swore an oath to kill every wild animal on Earth. The Earth goddess Gaia heard him and thought, more or less, not on my watch. She sent a giant scorpion to deal with him before he could make good his threat, and it did. Version 2 is Artemis's brother Apollo decided Orion just wasn't good enough for his sister. When Orion was swimming in a distant lake, Apollo bet his sister that she couldn't hit that little target bobbing way off in the lake there. Artemis, taking the bait, shot one arrow and struck the target, not realizing the target was really Orion's head, with the result as you can imagine. Regardless of what method applied, when Orion achieved the formerly alive state, Artemis went to her father Zeus and begged him to place Orion in the stars as a constellation, and he did. You might guess where this is going. In North America, the Pleiades star cluster is most visible from October to April. As for the constellation Orion, it rises in the southeast and proceeds west across the sky. Just find Orion in the evening, follow the line made by the 3 bright stars on his belt. Look up into the west to the bright red star Aldebaran in the constellation of Taurus. A little further, and there are the Pleiades. Eternally pursued across the starry sky by Orion the Hunter,